And Clinton supporters are either too cowardly, too stupid, or too craven to do that, and that's what scares me. That's the reason why I want to do this show.
That I'm 100% with you on that. We gotta wrap up the free part of this, but not until I play this last part.
Her instincts are more on the go to war
interventionist spectrum. Yes.
That guy just said her instincts are more to, he wanted to say warmonger, but he didn't want to say that. So he goes, to go to war. He was stumbling. Chris Hayes tried to help him by, did you hear what he said? He goes, interventionist. You know, he wanted to throw an Orwellian term into that to soften it up, what Hillary really is, which is a warhawk, a warmonger, which is what she is. And Chris goes, interventionist. It's not interventionist. She's a warmonger. That's what interventionists. What happened to your leg? I got intervened by a bomb. Here we go.
I hope I'm not going to sound sexist when I say this.
We'll let you know.
Yeah, it's always a good way to start. Keep going. Please continue.
As the first woman president, will she be under pressure, either self-imposed or from outside? To be more.
Yes, self-imposed, particularly, I think, is in some ways the most important in that way, right? Like the conception of, and clearly it was something they thought about a lot in
2008. I mean, that's why she didn't, reportedly why she never apologized for her Iraq vote in 2008.
The shoe that I really don't want to drop is the Kissinger endorsement, which everyone keeps floating. And I mean, again, I'm not going to say it's almost midnight. I will not go through the Kissinger record, but again, you could read a bunch about.
Go to my website.
Just odious and horrible. And again, it's just the Kissinger thing says to me also. We keep talking about who's going to be held responsible and people. What are people's reputations going to be after the Trump thing?
Right.
And it's like. Well, wait a second. Henry Kissinger, if he's going to be welcome in open arms and hey, we got the Kissinger, what that says is no one will be accountable. Won't be accountable for Trump or the people that backed him or the people that went along with all his odious things. Because if in the same cycle, we're saying,
Hillary Clinton is arguably a Democratic Richard Nixon.
Two quick things. That guy just said she's the Democratic Richard Nixon. And Joan Walsh doesn't say a goddamn thing, and neither does Chris Hayes. Chris Hayes, who wagged his finger and called Susan Sarandon nuts for not wanting to vote for Hillary Clinton, just let somebody on his own show refer to her as the Democratic Richard Nixon, and they're like, yeah, that's about right. But we're supposed to vote for her. And you're not pulling your hair out when Susan Sarandon was on your show. Why weren't you also doing cartwheels going, yes, I know, this is unbelievable. What can we do? What do we do to fix this? How do we get left with Hillary frickin' Clinton? How does this happen? Somebody we rejected 8 years ago is now getting rammed down. He didn't do that. He said, you're crazy. You're nuts. And now they're all sitting around going, oh, yeah, she's the Democratic Richard Nixon. Oh, and she's hanging out with Henry Kissinger. It's horrible. She's horrible. It's all odious. He said odious. Joan Walsh says, go to my website. You can read all about Henry Kissinger. Oh, so now you sons of bitches are okay with criticizing and calling out warmongers all of a sudden when it's guaranteed she's the nominee and she's going to be the next president. Now we can talk freely. Now we're not sexist because you're doing it. Now because you're doing it, it's okay. I'm so glad that you finally got your head out of your collective asses and realized that Hillary Clinton is horrible.